Gift Show, hosted by me, Latanya Taylor. We have the opportunity now to have all of our guests, as well as my girlfriends, on stage with us as we get into our final wrap-up of the evening. I know for me, I have lots of questions. I don't know about everybody else. But I point this first toward our writers. You know, I know as all of us as children coming up, they were always told you could be whoever you want to be, you could do whatever you want to do. You know, you've always heard that, or at least hopefully you heard that. And definitely with the way that our country has begun to change and mold. What do y'all say to other people out there? I mean, I'm assuming this has been, at some point in your life, a dream and a desire, something that you've always wanted to do. You know, some people look at Richmond as a small city and we can't do big things. But I think we're sending them a message. You know, whether it's in the entertainment business, whether it's writing, acting, you know, there are a lot of great people that is coming out of our city and doing great things and truly becoming icons, not just on a national level, but internationally as well. But what do you guys say to them? I mean, because I'm assuming these are things you guys have always wanted to do. So y'all can jump in conversations.
I say just do it. I mean, nothing should hold you back from your passion. Once you have that passion in your heart, it's going to keep pulling at you until you fall through.
But there are always people saying, in the background saying, you can't do that. Or there's people criticizing you and saying, well, it's all right. I mean, Nikki Turner's out there. I mean, it's all right. You got to compete with this person or, you know, whatever it is. To me, it's always somebody trying to pull you back from the back and criticize what you're doing. How do you continue to, push through all of that?
I guess I would say, as she's saying, if it's in your heart, you really have to believe in yourself. I'm actually from Arkansas. I've lived in Richmond probably for about 17 years. And I remember when I was getting ready to go off and major in journalism, I had a friend's father say to me, I don't know if that's a good path for African Americans because there's not a lot of us in newsrooms, so you may want to choose a safer career. And I thought about that, but I knew that was what I was meant to be. I was meant to be a writer. And so I went ahead and did it. And, he was actually right. There were not a lot of us in the newsroom, but there was a place for me, and that was the path I was meant to take. So I would just say stay focused and determined and just try to be excellent in what you do, and then the doors will open.
Yeah. Because it wasn't a lot of us, did you face a lot of challenges with that as far as, I know, one, being a woman, and then two, being African American?
There were some challenges, but again, I think in trying to be excellent about what you did, that there were other people, there were enough of us there that when they saw that you were serious and you were focused, there were enough people there that wanted to help you. So there were people that went before me that opened doors, and there were times I was in situations when I remember being in Albuquerque, New Mexico one summer, and I went out to cover an MC Hammer concert. Y'all remember Hammer?
Yes.
And I think I opened it up like, the first sentence was like, he took the stage, the lights went down, and it was Hammer time. And my editors were like, what's Hammer time? We got to change that. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. Everybody at that concert. So sometimes you kind of have to stand up and fight for, this is what diversity is. But if they respected you and knew you were working in excellence, you were able to open those doors.
Awesome. Wendell, have you been embraced with support from whether it's the Petersburg community or Richmond as a whole? But do you see your own community where you grew up and raised? Have they supported you in what you're doing right now?
Yes, they have. To answer the first question, you must stay self-motivated. In anything you do. Because you're gonna have people that gonna try to tell you that you can't do it or whatnot, but you gotta have that inner drive to to self-motivate yourself to overcome the obstacles.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, it's just something I think about all the time. I hear young kids say all the time. They just seem to be more inspired now than decades ago than what we were. So I'm just trying to understand how y'all got to where you are. How do y'all feel about readers? One of the things that I guess for me is, are you seeing that people are reading more? It just seems like people are reading less. I know there's still some book clubs that exist, but what's your thoughts in regard to, how do we get more people reading more and that being a part of their everyday dialogue? I mean, we're starting to do more storytelling in schools, and parents are now getting involved in schools and reading books with the kids. Celebrities, actors are getting more involved. There are books of the month at school, But that's our younger generation. How do we continue to get people reading more? And is the media and other outlets taking over, social media outlets taking over, people spending more time doing that than actually picking up and reading a book? How do we get back to that that generation? What are y'all thoughts on that? What do we need to do?
Well, I think it is a challenge. I think you're right about the social media and all that. And I think one of the reasons they start with kids is because even with my own kids, I know I was reading to them when they were babies. They were infants. And I'm sitting there reading a book, and my mother's like, that baby does not understand what you're saying. But I guarantee you, both of my kids, when they get bored, they are reading.
Pick up a book.
You know,
yeah.
they're going to do the other stuff. They got their DS, they got the Wii, but reading is just as natural to them. So I think, you know, if once it becomes a habit, that's something you continue into adulthood. And then as far as adults, I think, you know, it's just a matter of finding something that you're already passionate about. You know, what interests you? Is it fashion? Well, okay, then I'm going to read a novel about a fashion designer or whatever. Or even if it's nonfiction, you have to find something that interests you. Even if it's magazines at this point, that'll hold your attention.
Something. What are y'all thoughts on it?
I say cut the TV off, unplug everything, and make them read. I mean, we've gotten to the point where the reality shows have just taken over. I don't see anything wrong with them. Don't get me wrong, but they have to read. I mean, my daughter sits around like she's bored all day. Pick up a book, please. You know, there's nothing wrong with reading. You know, and to me, reading has always been an outlet to discover different things about myself, or, you know, just putting yourself in a book. You know, just taking yourself away from everything that's going on in the world. So I say unplug everything. That's what I say.
What's your thoughts, Wendell?
Well, first they gotta have something to catch their imagination or capture their attention.
Got to get something to get them.
Yeah, you know, because you got nonfiction books, you got urban literature, you got self-help books. You got all types of books that can actually, you know, capture the person's imagination or keep their attention.
Yeah.
And keep them reading. You know, something that that inspires them. You know.
Okay. All right, what we're going to do, we got to take a quick break. And I just want to say, I do think that to your point, Stacey, and you guys talked about reading with your kids when they're young, it's amazing. At the end of the school year, my daughter is a big reader. Her teacher sent her home with like 20 books. And I said, why did your teacher give you those books? She was like, Mom, because I love to read. And I do think it was because when I was pregnant, I read to her all the time, and her, and when she was born, in her rocking chair, I loved it. I just loved being a mom, but I used to read to her. I don't know if she got it all in, but one thing I can say is she loves to read now. She's a great reader, and she's two grades above her reading average. So I think that's important. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come right back, and we're going to wrap up our final segment of the Stir It Up Show. Thanks for joining us.